Good day, class. In this assignment, we're going to be studying final grade averages. And this aspect is very important in our lives, and the reason being is that we know instinctively that certain things that we do have a greater impact in our lives than others. So if you look at this ruler, you'll see that on the right side you have greater weights as opposed to the left side of the room. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because just like in anything, like when you look at a football game, we all know that touchdowns count more than would be just a completion, or like in baseball, home runs count for more than would be a single at bat. You could take really anything and find out that things count for more than others. And a perfect example is this classroom, or the way this classroom's. The number one thing that I get asked is, Mr. Sandoval, when is our test going to be? Now, the reason why I get asked this so much about our tests is because our test counts for a greater portion, or just about in every class, a test counts for a big portion of your grade. Its weighted average is greater than would be a quiz or even in the class. So with that in mind, a lot of people ask me, well, Mr. Sandoval, when are we going to have our first test? Because they know that that's going to be of a big importance for the grading of this class. Now, what we're going to do is find out how to take apart any weighted average system and come up with your grade. Some people know this, some people don't, but it's important for the next couple of sections of the assignments that we're going to be doing. So here, let me go ahead and show you this. Now, I know y'all probably looking at this and saying, Mr. Sandoval, you just showed me something that's completely, it's not going to be this hard. But this, in essence, is what we're doing. Now, I'll break down to you a little bit simpler and simpler terms. A weighted average, all it's really doing is you're taking its relative weight. You see how they put relative weight W? And the value of X. And all you're doing is multiplying against each other. And that's how you will get your weighted average. Now, keep in mind that any weighted average needs to be added to 100%. So that means, like, let me go ahead and put an example, and I'll explain a little bit deeper what I'm talking. Okay, this example, Mr. Sandoval has Margaret as an Algebra 1 student. The class grading policy is 25% for assignments, 35% for quizzes, 40% for tests. Currently, she has the following averages: 95% for assignments, 80% for quizzes, and 75% for tests. What is Margaret's current grades? Please show all work. Now, let's go ahead and go back to the class grading policy. You see how it says 25 for assignments, 35 for quizzes, and 40% for tests? In a weighted average system, this needs to always add up to 100%. And as just in about every classroom, tests account for a bigger grade. Now, you're going to find out that in just your classrooms, your grades are not going to be 100% in every category, and this is going to affect your final grade. Now, what we're going to do is walk through the steps of what do we need to do to actually find out what Margaret's current grade is. Well, here's step one. Step one is you're going to go ahead and convert all these percentages to decimals. So the way we do that, you see how I went ahead and took the decimal and moved it over 2 spaces? So at 25%, if I move it over to the left 2 spaces, I get 0.25. Now, the reason why this is important to know is because we're going to use the calculator to our benefit, and we're going to be multiplying decimals, actually quite a few decimals together, and adding them together. So now let's go ahead and go to step 2. Now, step 2, what you're going to do is you're going to place the weighted value, the weight with its value. Now, what do I mean? You see how I put the 25% of the grading policy and how Margaret's grade, her value was 95%. We're going to put those together. We're going to multiply them together to find out how much does she get of that certain weighted average. So, and you see how I went ahead and put her quizzes in purple and put that 35% for quizzes, the weighted average, with her value of 80%. And lastly, what I did is I took the weighted average for the test and placed that with her value about what she scored, which was 75% for tests. So you place its weight with the value, so you see how the weighted average is 0.25 times 0.95 plus, and then you add them together, plus 3.5 plus 0.8 plus the 0.4 times the 0.75. So let's see what we end up. The last step 3 is really just to compute your answer. So what I did is I went ahead and brought up my calculator, and I hope it's easy to see, but if you look at my calculator, all I did is just put in the parentheses, just the way you saw that I wrote it down, put parentheses, and went ahead and used my calculator to my advantage to get the solution, and found out that the solution is 0.8175. Now we're going to convert that back to a percentage, so all you do is move the decimal back to the right 2 places, and you see that I circled my answer, which means that it was 81.75%. Alright, class, well, if you get stuck in any portion of this, feel free to come back and visit me in the back, and I'll help you through it. This assignment will be due at the end of the period. Thank you.